Tucker was here. I'm an American standing in Moscow, Russia, in the center, and we were just one day after the interview was posted between Tucker Carlson and Sergei Lavrov.
The fact that we're having a conversation about a potential nuclear exchange and it's real is remarkable. Not something I thought I'd ever see.
Right now, the whole world is talking about this interview and what is going to happen between Russia and the West. I'm an American who's been living in Moscow for almost 3 years, and I'm going to tell you what I think and what I hear from other Russians right now.
Putin became president. He was very much open to cooperation with the West.
Welcome to Expat American. I am the Expat American. Find out what's going on in Russia under sanctions today. T? Yeah. Rolling?
So what are the terms under which Russia would cease hostilities? Like what are you asking for?
Now, there are a lot of videos analyzing this speech. The reason why I'm doing this one here is because I think it's important for us to see the Russian culture and to see that these are real people. So regardless of what side you take, whether you're for America or the West or NATO or Russia or some other place, you are a human and you are for humans and you are for civilization. So I think as we discuss this, I think it's important for people to see what Russia is, that Russia is a normal place. It is civilization. It is people. Just like you are a person, just like we all have a civilization that we live in.
How sincerely worried are you about an escalation in conflict between Russia and the United States, knowing what you do?
Well, we started with this question, more or less.
It seems the central question.
Right this way. So this is the Minister of Foreign Affairs building. A couple days ago, I did a video of where Tucker was when he was working and resting in Moscow to do the interview. And I've since learned the word on the street, that this building is where they did the interview. Sergei Lavrov is the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
We don't want war with anybody. And as I said, 5 nuclear states declared at the top level in January 2022 that we don't want confrontation with each other and that we shall respect each other's security interests and concerns. And it also stated nuclear war can never be won, and therefore nuclear war is not possible.
And this is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs building. This is one of the 7 towers, Stalin's 7 towers. They call it the 7 Sisters of Moscow.
It's obvious, though, that Biden administration would like to leave legacy to the Trump administration as bad as they can.
Yes.
And similar to what Obama did to Trump during his first term, when late December 2016, Obama expelled Russian diplomats, just very late December, 120 persons with family members, did it on purpose, demanded them on leave on the day when there was no direct flight from Washington, so they had to move to New York by buses with all their luggage, with children, and so on and so forth.
So I moved here 8 days before the special military operation with my wife and 5 children. So I've had a lot of time in this country to get to know the people and the culture and to live through this part of history as an American in Russia. And so this interview is of particular importance to me this time because I'm raising my kids here and I want my kids to be safe. So you might be asking, why this interview? Why now?
And it sounds like you're saying the Russian-Chinese alliance is permanent.
Well, we are neighbors. We are neighbors,
of course.
And geography is very important. And
but you're also neighbors with Western Europe. You're part of it, in effect.
Well, through Ukraine.
So the Biden administration is leaving. The Trump administration is about to take over. The Biden administration does not like Russia. The Trump administration also doesn't like Russia, but they don't have a problem with Russia in particular.
What do you think of Donald Trump?
I met him several times when he was having meetings with Putin and when he received me twice, I think, in the Oval Office when I was visiting for bilateral talks. Well, I think he's a very strong person, a person who wants results, who doesn't like procrastination on anything. This is my impression. He's very friendly in discussions, but this does not mean that that he is pro-Russian, as some people try to present him. The amount of sanctions we received under the Trump administration was very, very, very big. We respect any choice which is made by the people when they vote. We respect the choice of American people, and we are open, as Putin said, we are open to contacts with, we have been open all along with the current administration. And we hope that when Donald Trump is inaugurated, we will understand what the ball, as Putin said, is on this side. We never severed our contacts, our ties in economy, trade, on security, on anything.
They believe, I think, the Trump administration, in healthy trading partners, healthy countries that do not have cultures that are collapsing, that can be neighborly and trade, so there can be wealth for the world peace, you could say. The Biden administration doesn't seem to think that. So I believe that Tucker has moved from newsman to political leader, whether he likes it or not, and he's trying to help us have world peace by doing this interview, just like he did with Putin.
Tell us why you believe the United States might strike Russia out of the blue. How did you conclude that?
It's not that America, the United States, was going to launch a surprise strike on Russia. I didn't say that.
So what do Russians think about this interview and this whole mess?
Would dropping sanctions against Russia be a condition?
I would say probably many people in Russia would like to make it a condition. But the more we live under sanctions, the more we understand that it is better to rely on yourself and to develop mechanisms, to develop platforms for cooperation with normal countries who are not unfriendly to you and don't mix economic interest and policies, and especially politics. And we learned a lot after the sanctions started. Sanctions started under Obama. They continued in a very big way under the first term of Trump. And these sanctions under the Biden administration are absolutely unprecedented. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, you know.
They don't want to think that Trump needs to save them or America needs to save them. They want to think that they're strong and they're on their own. And I think they feel emboldened by this because of the sanctions. but I think it is a tense time. It is a time where nuclear war could start. So I think it's very good that this interview happened.
We don't want to aggravate the situation, but since ATACMS and other long-range weapons are being used against mainland Russia, as it were, we are sending signals, and we hope that the last one, couple of weeks ago, the signal with the new weapon system called the Reshnik,
Yes.
was taken seriously.
So I watched the interview, and in my opinion, it was a bit boring, if I'm to be honest, compared to the Putin interview. Putin was kind of like a fox. He was a bit argumentative and funny in a good way, in an exciting way.
Are we having a talk show or a serious conversation?
Here's the quote. Thank you. It's a formidable series.
Да, это серьезный разговор. Но поскольку у вас базовое образование...
Because your basic education is in history, as far as I understand.
Yes.
Тогда я позволю себе...
So if you don't mind, I will take only 30 seconds or 1 minute to give you a short reference to history for giving you a little historical background.
Please.
And it's good to be like that sometimes, but I think it's also good to be the way Lavrov was, which was very by the book, very formal, very legalistic. And so I think that's what we got from this interview. And I think that, you know, some people need to hear it the way Putin told it, and some people need to hear it the way Lavrov told it.
Look, we have been very friendly with Finland, for example. Overnight, the Finns came back to early years of preparation for World War II, when they were best allies of Hitler, and all this neutrality, all this friendship, going to sauna together, playing hockey together, all this disappeared overnight. So maybe this was deep in their hearts, and the neutrality was burdening them, and niceties were burdening for them. I don't know.
That's totally possible.
Okay, so it's a reckless time because nuclear war, I think, could wipe out Western civilization and Russia in about 15 minutes. So it's really, really, really not good that fireworks are going from the West to Russia and vice versa. So I think it's super, super important that Tucker did this interview, and he interviewed Putin earlier. I'm very excited to see it, and I hope that it helps us just get through this last month of the Biden administration.
President Trump was elected on the explicit promise to bring an end to the war in Ukraine. So, I mean, he said that in appearance after appearance. So given that, there is hope for a resolution, it sounds like. What are the terms to which you'd agree?
One of the things that frustrated me about the interview is Tucker asked him a couple of times, what does Russia want for peace? And I feel like he didn't get a clear answer. But as I was watching and listening to Sergei Lavrov, what I think the point that he was trying to make is that Russia doesn't want to put themselves in the position of we're going to say, we're going to decide. I think there's a lot of emphasis on Russia wants to be a part of the world trading community, and we want things to be decided according to law, according to international courts, according to what's fair, and what has been agreed upon. So I think Russia doesn't want to be pushed into the position of we're standing here, we're saying it's exactly like this, and that's it.
I don't think we should be presenting our relations as, two guys decide for everybody. Not at all. It is not our style. We prefer the manners which dominate in BRICS, in Shanghai Cooperation Organization, where the UN Charter principle of sovereign equality of states is really embodied. The US is not used to respect sovereign equality of states. The United States, when they say we cannot allow Russia to win on Ukraine because this would undermine our rules-based world order. And the rules-based world order is American domination.
I think they want to be open to negotiation. I think they do know what they would like, but I think also in terms of playing political chess, they don't want to say exactly what they want. They want to get to the point of just agreeing on the fact that there will be a negotiation to try to get to peace. I think that's what Russia's goal is right now. Putin, Sergei Lavrov, is we want to sit down and we want to talk about this and try to work it out. I think that's the first step. And so, although it was frustrating for me that they didn't say exactly this is what we want, I think I understand the point he was coming from now.
If you want to respect the United Nations Charter, you have to respect it in its entirety. And the United Nations Charter, among other things, says that all countries must respect equality of states and the right of people for self-determination.
Another thing, if you're thinking that you're safe and all is fine, this doesn't concern you, I would caution you that cultures do disappear, countries do come to an end. The Byzantine Empire was the world Christian empire for hundreds of years, and it no longer exists. No one talks about the Byzantine Empire anymore. Most people don't think about it or even know about it.
About escalation and about possibility of nuclear weapons being employed. And he said, oh no, we don't want escalation, because then if there is some nuclear element, then our European allies would suffer. So even mentally, he excludes that the United States can suffer. And this is something which makes the situation a bit risky. It might, if this mentality prevails, then some reckless steps could be taken, and this is bad.
So what I think you're saying is American policymakers imagine there could be a nuclear exchange that doesn't directly affect the United States, and you're saying that's not true.
That's what I said, yes.
So if you like your culture, understand that it could come to an end, and we do need to do whatever we feel we need to do to protect it.
If they are following the logic which some Westerners have been pronouncing lately, that, well, don't believe that Russia has red lines, they announce their red lines, these red lines are being moved again and again and again, this is a very serious mistake.
Okay, so I wanted to end here with my youngest child, Maxime. Just again to remind you that we are all people living on this planet, and there was talk of a red line, and Sergei Lavrov warned that Russia does have a red line and we don't want to cross it. And, it might sound sentimental, but, I think we all need to do whatever we can, whether it's just saying a little prayer that we get through this time. And like I said, you might not be for Russia, but I think, we're all in danger right now, and we want to do everything we can to make sure things don't get worse. So now it's your turn. I want you to leave a comment. Let us all know what you think. Like, subscribe, press the share button right now. Interrupt my speech, send this to your friends, and click the box to see what happens next. That's good. Are we still rolling? And once I do that, then you hit the button. I forgot to look it up. That's good you're still rolling, because I can use that too. Let's go. This is one of... Huh? Was Maxime in the shot? Okay, try going to 5 to do just the building, and then pull back to me, and then you nod your head when it pulls back, and I'll talk. The Biden administration is leaving, and they're... Maxime, do you want to go home? Then get out of the way. I think the interview with Tucker and Putin. Do you want to go home?
Yeah.
Then stay next to the cameraman. Right over here. You walk with the cameraman.
Учиться, ставить